Hello, my name is Jim McGillivray. Welcome to the Pipe Box, your source for all things piping. If you find this video useful, please give it a like, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel to see more videos like this. Today I'd like to talk to you about a very important piece of technique, what we call the grip. It's also called the Leumluath, a name that comes to us from the Pibroch tradition. For our purposes, talking about light music, we'll refer to it as the grip. It's quite a common movement, and it can be played from one note to the same note, or it can be played from one note to another note. It's not a complex movement, but there are a couple of skills you need to develop in order to play a grip well every single time. Above my shoulder is a grip written out as we would play it in a piece of pipe music. It sounds like this. It's a rippling, bubbly movement. It's not necessarily to be played as quickly as you can. It's to be played with rhythm and enunciation, especially of the low G's in the middle of the grip. Let's have a look at a slowed down grip, see what it looks like in slow motion. Here's your grip in slow motion. What I've learned in my years of teaching is that the most difficult part of the grip for most people, almost all people, is lifting fingers at the same time and putting fingers down at the same time. For example, in the grip that I just played you, the slow motion grip from E to E, it's very important that the E finger and the low G finger hit the chanter at exactly the same time. Then after the D grace note gets played, those two fingers have to come up off the chanter at exactly the same time. That can be a challenge for some people. It's even more challenging when we go to some of the top hand notes like F and high G, where we have three fingers off on the top hand at the same time. For example, a high G grip has four fingers that have to hit the chanter at the same time, and then after the D grace note, lift from the chanter at the same time. That's the big challenge of playing grips. I have an exercise for that. Let's have a look at it. That's a very important exercise if you want to play good grips. In fact, it's a very important exercise for good fingering in general. As I'll say time and again in these videos, the important thing in bagpipe technique is that fingers hit the chanter and come up from the chanter at exactly the same time. That is the foundation of all of our fingering. Now let's have a look at the grip broken down in a different way. The purpose of this exercise is to help you learn how to play two well-enunciated low Gs separated by a distinct D grace note. The longer low G at the end of the expanded grip movement just gives you a little bit more time to think of your next note change, which involves lifting fingers up at exactly the same time. Make sure your low Gs are distinct. Make sure your fingers hit and leave the chanter at exactly the same time. Take it slow and methodical. You may have noticed that when I played the D grip, I played a B grace note instead of a D grace note. This is another inheritance from the Pibroch tradition, which we have adopted into our light music. It gets used frequently, and that finger gets used in other movements in light music as well. So it's a good training ground when you play a grip scale to play the D grip with a B grace note. It's a bit awkward, and you'll never get that grace note as clear and distinct as the D, but you make your best effort. Okay, now let's have a look at a standard grip scale. You'll notice that the grips are quite open with lots of bottom. By bottom, I mean they have lots of low G. If you're just learning how to play grips, you may not want to play them as quickly as I am there. You can slow them down to suit your comfort level. Getting from the previous exercise where we had the extended low G at the end of the movement to the straight grip scale is a matter of slowly shortening that low G, but keeping a strong low G presence in the movement. One other point I would like to make about grips is that it is one of the very few movements we play that is not played on the beat. It's actually played very slightly ahead of the beat. The grip ends on the beat, like this. So the ending of the grip when the fingers come off the chanter is exactly where the beat is. That's unusual. Most doublings, most of our technique is actually played on the beat. Okay, I have one more exercise to show you, and that's specifically for our bottom hand grips. Let's have a look at that. The same principles apply here as they did in the earlier grip exercises. Fingers hitting the chanter at the same time, coming off the chanter at the same time, and there being lots of solid low G in the middle of your grip. Some of these note changes are tricky. For example, some people find going from low A to B with a grip is tricky, lifting the low A finger and the B finger at the same time at the end of the grip. That takes us back to the first exercise we did on note changes, which, as I said, is a valuable exercise for all of your fingering. These exercises are going to help you a lot when you're playing some of the classic tunes like Rowan Tree. Bottom hand grips, Green Hills. Bottom hand grips, and of course Scotland the Brave, top hand grips. Strive for open, accurate, rippling grip movements. That's the story on grips on the pipe box for today. There are more grip exercises and more instruction on grips in my Rhythmic Fingerwork Technical Tutor beginning on page 51. That's it for the pipe box for today. I'm Jim McGillivray. Good piping.